Hannibal Lecter. Anybody know Hannibal Lecter? We don't want him in this country.
Did anybody see that lovely little movie? Hannibal Lecter, right? This is Hannibal Lecter. Welcome to Hannibal Lecter, because we got a lot of them right now coming into our country and already came into our country.
I said, that's Silence of the Lamb. You know what that is? Has anybody seen Silence of the Lambs? Hannibal Lecter, how great an actor was he? You know why I like him? Because he said on television, on one of the, I love Donald Trump, so I love him. I love him. I love him. He said that a long time ago. And
that was Donald Trump talking about his favorite person in the world, I think, the late, great Hannibal Lecter. He's such a big fan of Hannibal Lecter, saying in that clip that Anthony Hopkins, the actor who portrayed Hannibal Lecter, loves him and said something so great about him one time. He's obviously lying, as Trump does, but in fact, Anthony Hopkins has some different feelings on Trump. Yes, Hannibal Lecter might not be a Trump fan, and we're going to get to that a little bit later in the video, but before we did, I stumbled across this funny video someone put together using AI of Hannibal Lecter kind of mocking Trump, and I think it would really upset Trump, so we're going to take a look.
And now with a response is Dr. Hannibal Lecter.
Hello, it is me, Dr. Hannibal Lecter. I'd like to take a moment to address Donald Trump's recent comments about me. First, please allow me to address Donald Trump directly. Mr. Trump, keep my f***ing name out of your stinking mouth. You do not have permission to use my name for any reason. If you speak my name again, I will go shopping for some fava beans and a nice Chianti. Second, I would like to state for the record that I do not wish to be associated in any way with a person of such low moral character as Donald Trump. Donald Trump is beneath me. He is diseased filth. He is a turd covered in sauce, and he is unworthy to utter my name. The fact that he did so is clearly a sign that he only wishes he could rise up to my level, but he never will. Trump is little more than worm vomit, and he will never be as good as me. He is dumpster scum, absolute human waste. And so allow me to conclude by saying that I did not authorize Donald Trump to use my name. And if he does it again, I will sue the living shit out of him and make his life a living hell. And it isn't wise to piss off Dr. Hannibal Lecter. Thank you.
I always say on this show that I think Trump loves Hannibal Lecter because, you know, they're both criminals, so they have a lot in common, a lot to bond over their criminality. But clearly Hannibal Lecter, with the disgraceful things that he does not want to be compared to even Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a little bit too low for Hannibal Lecter, and that video just cracked me up, and I thought it was so funny, but you know, there's some truth in it, apparently, because as Midas Touch reported, Hannibal Lecter gave an interview with Deadline in which he was asked about Donald Trump's constant commentary on him and gave an answer that might shock you and really disappoint Donald Trump. So let's get into that. In a series of increasingly bizarre and unsettling comments, Donald Trump has been invoking Hannibal Lecter, the infamous fictional cannibal, during his rallies. Trump refers to Lecter, played by Sir Anthony Hopkins in the 1991 film The Silence of the Lambs, as the late, great Hannibal Lecter, which is especially odd because the character is neither late nor great. Sir Anthony Hopkins, who is very much still here with us as well, weighed in during an interview with Deadline Hollywood. The conversation intended to focus on Hopkins' new role in the Peacock series, Those About to Die, took an unexpected turn when the interviewer mentioned Trump's repeated references to Lecter. I have to mention one of your greatest characters, Hannibal Lecter. Why? Hopkins responded. The reporter said, because he's come up a lot during this election campaign here in America, with Donald Trump speaking about him at his rallies as if he's a real person. Hopkins answered, as if he's a real person? The reporter said, yes. Hopkins proceeded to laugh. I didn't know that. Hannibal? That's a long time ago, that movie. God, that was over 30 years. I'm shocked and appalled what you've told me about. Shocked and appalled at Donald Trump's use of Hannibal Lecter. That doesn't sound like a ringing endorsement to me. So it seems Sir Anthony Hopkins isn't actually that big of a fan of Donald Trump, or as much as Donald Trump wants to make him out to be. Hannibal Lecter, the late, great Hannibal Lecter, a criminal, like I said, might have been a fan of Donald Trump. Again, two criminals, two narcissists, two people without compassion at all. But as we saw in that AI video, maybe both Sir Anthony Hopkins, the actor, and the fictional character of Hannibal Lecter, maybe both of them would be able to agree that they don't like Donald Trump. Now, the Hannibal Lecter thing is funny for us to talk about, to make fun of Trump for, to not really understand why he continues to bring it up. But it is also an important reminder of Donald Trump isn't in a great headspace right now. We see the decline of his mental state, what Dr. John Gartner calls his dementing mental state, more and more. Even when he's on teleprompter, his speeches go off into these strange directions when he's talking about sharks and electrocution and batteries and, of course, Hannibal Lecter. And it really points out that now that Joe Biden is not in this race anymore, now that age is not an issue that he is being faced with, it is only an issue that Donald Trump is being faced with. Donald Trump, of course, 78 years old, while Kamala Harris is 59. And as age can be a benefit to a leader, a great example is Joe Biden, who used his age and expertise and experience to have a historically successful and consequential presidency. With Donald Trump, that's not so much the case. Donald Trump is having a decline in his mental capabilities, which just makes him that much more dangerous. And that was pointed out by our good friends at the Lincoln Project with this ad.
For 3 years, we heard it every day, that Joe Biden and Donald Trump were the oldest candidates ever. Republicans made the excuse that Biden was 3 years older, and the media gave it a pass. Their breathless coverage of Biden's age, while ignoring Trump's decline, pretended Trump wasn't slurring his speech.
We want a landslide that's
confusing people,
including Obama. I'll tell you what.
telling weird, wandering stories.
By the way, a lot of shark attacks lately. The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He's a wonderful man.
Now, there's no excuse. There's only one person in this race now with mental problems. One person with memory problems. One person feeling the icy hand of death from old age creeping closer. One person who knows the clock is running out. And that's old Donald Trump. Weak, impotent, forgetful, mentally declining, fast. He'd be 83 by the end of his term. If he's senile now, he'll be dangerous by then.
Now, there's been a lot of conversation lately about age in this campaign. Of course, Donald Trump's age being brought up more now, the dangerous nature of his dementing brain. But it's not just about age of the person running. It's also about the age of their ideas. Are your ideas those that want to set us back? Or are they those that push us forward? Kamala Harris has a very forward-thinking vision for this country. She wants to cement and protect and preserve our rights while investing in battling climate change, infrastructure, Social Security, and Medicare. She wants to make sure that prescription drug prices are coming down. She wants to invest in America. Well, Donald Trump wants to attack our institutions. He wants to attack our democracy. He wants to destroy the Department of Education. He wants to destroy the EPA. Donald Trump's idea of his second term would be one in which he takes us back. He strips away fundamental freedoms that Americans have existed for decades, 50, 60, 70 years. Project 2025, like I say all the time, is not about 2025. It's about pushing us back to 1925. That's where Republicans want to go. So it's not that just Donald Trump is an older candidate, the oldest in the history of this country, the oldest person to ever be nominated for president by one of the two major parties. It's that his ideas are old. Donald Trump's ideas want to move us back to a place where we're not going back. As Kamala Harris says, we're not going back. We're not going to allow Donald Trump to push this country backwards, whether that be on civil liberties, reproductive freedoms, the freedom, as Kamala Harris says, not to just get by, but to get ahead. Donald Trump wants to give giant tax cuts for his billionaire friends and giant corporations, while Kamala Harris wants to invest in the American middle class, wants to continue to invest in making and buying American, invest in American infrastructure, ingenuity. That's what Kamala Harris wants to do, to oversee and continue to oversee the manufacturing boom that we had under President Biden continue into her presidency. That's what Kamala Harris thinks about. She thinks about the future. Donald Trump is about the past. Just think about how he talks about his political opponents. He talks about revenge and retribution. He's still focused on attacking Hillary Clinton. This is someone who is permanently stuck in the 80s. We saw Hulk Hogan at his rally. We saw Kid Rock at the RNC. These are old figures. These are not popular celebrities now. This isn't a Taylor Swift. This isn't a Beyonce. And I understand that, Republicans don't really get exciting celebrities on their team, but they don't have a lot to work with. It's still, the point is there. Donald Trump is focused on a time long ago that he wants to seek retribution for, while Kamala Harris wants to rebuild the parts of America that Donald Trump broke. Namely, restoring Roe v. Wade, building back our freedoms. And so we're not going to allow Donald Trump to push us back. And I know this started by us kind of joking about Hannibal Lecter, but it's true. There are issues that are present in everything that Donald Trump says. In every way, he poses a danger to our democracy, even if that's just joking about Hannibal Lecter. It reveals real truths about where his mind is and what he wants to do. And so if you agree that we are not going back to Donald Trump and we have to push forward, and that is with Kamala Harris, make sure that you join this community that we are building on this channel by hitting that subscribe button and leaving a like on this video. It really goes a long way to help what we are building. And we are building such an incredible community so fast. In fact, in the only 2 weeks it has only taken 2 weeks for us to grow this channel to over 65,000 subscribers, and that is because of you. We are new, but we are growing so fast, and I'm so proud of the community that we have on the channel, and I'm so excited to continue to grow it with y'all. And until next time, I will see you soon.